Welcome back to this final video where I'm going to show you how you can easily create nice looking reports and dashboards for line managers and all other stakeholders in your organization using Excel spreadsheets or performance point services made for SharePoint. Let's first of all navigate to a simple spreadsheet or launch Excel. From Excel we have the availability of hitting the Data tab and adding an OLAP cube from Analysis Services. The Resource Manager actually uses its own OLAP cubes as Microsoft Project does out of the box, but in this case with all the resource data that is available from the module. So let's hit the server name, demo 2010A, and go straight to the Resource Manager OLAP area and select the Resource Booking Cube. By hitting Next and Finish, we now get full availability of all the data available from the module from a pivot table field list. This means that you can easily create reports using allocated FTEs, available FTEs, baselines, capacity, requests, etc. To make it simple, I could start by inserting, for instance, the line manager. Line manager in this case means that you get a full drill down functionality so that Chris Gray in our organization is the only line manager. And by folding out Chris Gray, you'll see which competencies that Chris Gray actually manages and who is actually available within his line beneath the developer skill set, the consultancy skill set, and so on. So this is of course very nice to have this kind of tree structure bottom up or top down approach. Next thing that you might want to know about is, for instance, the availability of the resources within this department. And please notice that all the numbers here are in FTEs. You can also switch those to percentages if you wanted that instead. So available FTEs is actually the capacity that we have available right now, meaning the capacity minus what is already allocated. So availability is of course very interesting, and maybe also the allocated FTEs. So here you can see exactly how much Ben Spain is available and how much he is allocated. Time dimensions are also available by going to the date area. We have years and months, year, quarter, months, and year and weeks. So year and month could be interesting to have as filters. So we're gonna put that in the report filter area and maybe look only at 2012, perhaps only in, let's say, August, September, and October, like this. This will then change the numbers a bit. Of course, as always in Excel, you can insert some nice looking column charts, spread pie charts, etc., so that management actually wants to look at it. Of course, various reports can be made like this. Like this. Yes. So this was a simple example on how to use Excel to create these spreadsheets. Please notice also that when you hit File, Save, and save this as Demo Report, as with all other OLAP cubes in Project Server as standard, you will always have the availability of going back to this particular spreadsheet, double-click it, open it, and enable content, and therefore also refresh this data connection. So it means that in general that you do the report once and then you are able to work with it for the future, meaning that data is automatically updated every time you go to the Excel spreadsheet. So this was the easiest way to do a report using spreadsheets. The more advanced way, but maybe also a nicer way for the organization in general, is to go and use the SharePoint Dashboard Designer. In this case, it's much more complex, but still manageable if you have the basic pivot table skills as you just saw me when I used Excel. So what Performance Point Services does is that it easily makes you able to create your own web parts without using any kind of code, web parts that you can use for report dashboards for your managers and in which they can drill down and work with data live on the web page. First of all, let's create a data connection by going to Data Connections and hit Create and hit Data Source. We're going to select Analysis Services and hit the button OK. And like we just saw it in the spreadsheets, we now have to enter the name of the server once it's done thinking. This can sometimes take half a minute, like this, and hit the server name in the server name column, demo 2010A. And the database that we're going to connect to is the resource manager OLAP cube, where there is only one cube, so let's just select the resource booking cube. We can test the data source, and it works perfect. By going to properties, we can give this data source a name. It could be called resource manager demo, and then hit save. Next thing is to go to the content area of Performance Point, and from here we can create a new chart report, analytic grid report, strategy map report using Visio services, and other kind of reports. One of the more basic reports could be to create a chart. So now it's going to create a chart, and it's going to look a little bit like we just saw in the spreadsheet, actually more or less like a pivot table, from where you can drag and drop different kind of data sets into your report. So let's connect to the resource analysis data connection. Finish. And as you can see, it now prompts for a name. This could be the resource allocation chart. Yes. Save this name. And what we have here is a series axis, bottom axis, and a background area. So in general, we could go to the measures and say, let's make a cool looking web part that does some reporting on the actual availability of the resources. So let's hit availability, pull it into the axis area, like this. And for the dimensions, let's use the resource by data, generic resources. So this could show the capacity of all the different competencies that are in this particular department. If we remove this one, we could also use the project name and remove availability and use the allocations if we wanted to see which resources are allocated to which projects. So by drilling into this one, by just clicking on the web part, you'll see that we have three major projects that are using my resources allocations right now. This is the maintenance project, training, vacation, and one of them that has no name right now. But if we click it, it will go down one level and one more level and so on, depending on the amount of programs, projects, sub-projects, and the amount of levels in that area that you actually use for doing your daily project work. So let's create another report that actually can be used for something, and this could be very simple, such as the capacity of resources. And let's just use the resource names like this, and nothing more, capacity, and also the allocated FTEs like this. So this is a report about how much is allocated and who is allocated and the amount of capacity that we have in total. So to make this very short, let's just do it even more simple by just using the allocated FTEs because it looks nice. We can sort this grid, meaning the largest to the smallest. We can of course remove the blanks just by clicking on value filters and saying that we don't want anything less than 0. Just gonna do it again, sorry, I hit the wrong one. Allocated FTEs is greater than 0, yes. And this gives us a nice looking chart like this. We can save it. And that's more or less it. So if we want to deploy this into some nice web page on your SharePoint solution, we can then create a dashboard actually for this purpose, meaning that we could add multiple web parts or reports onto the same page in areas such as you see up here, 3 rows, 3 columns, column split column, and so on. Let's make it simple with just one zone, meaning one area for the report. This, and call it the report dashboard demo. So in this dashboard, we just have to drag the reports that we actually need. Right now we have only created one. So by going to the report section up here, we'll find only one chart that can be actually put onto this dashboard. So by dragging it onto the page like this, we have now added the web parts straight onto the dashboard page. And of course, you can add multiple charting web parts onto this particular page. So the only thing we need to do right now is to save this, right click it, and choose to deploy to SharePoint to see this report work live on a SharePoint web page. It will ask you where you want to deploy the report. This could be in the BI part of your solution, typically called the BI Center, under Dashboards, and hit OK. And this is where the magic happens. Now you'll see a report that is now available on the web page. This report is of course updated once you hit F5 or whenever a user gets access to this page. And you can also right click on it and choose to change the report type, meaning that every user can change the report type to the purpose that they need it. Could be a pie chart,